I'm doing something which is a little different. This is my idea. We're going to have this dish. It's going to be surf and turf. The surf is shrimps, the turf is sausages. Ha ha ha. Italian because of the flavor. Take these, freeze them halfway, because what you want to do is make nice, thin slices like so. And then once that's sliced, well, I'm going to say if this doesn't work, you won't see the video. So if you're looking at it, then it worked. I'm going to dust that in flour a little bit and saute them. We'll see how we come out with this, with the pasta. Now I will quickly put these in the pan that's already heated and hope that there's a lot of fat in this, but it may not come out. And I put a lot of the sausage slice back in the freezer. Lightly dust in flour. Now I'm going to mix this. I got about half of it in there. And if I don't like what's happening, I'm going to squirt some olive oil in there. I'm going to leave it. Just raise the flame, like so. And why did I put flour on it? Well, because first I was going to make it just with olive oil, with this and the shrimps over the pasta. But then I go, it's always nice to have a sauce. So what kind of sauce we're going to have is shrimp stock, or fish stock, or vegetable stock, or chicken stock, whatever you like. But it's not water. I'm using a cross between shrimp stock, which is made with the shells of the shrimp, and some fish stock I have. So that's what I'm doing. Or you can use water. Water has no flavor, but whatever. So let this cook. And why? Once again, the flouring is so when I put the stock in there later, the flour will thicken the stock, so I don't have to make a roux. Killing two stones with one bird, or killing two birds with one stone. And this will take a few minutes. It's starting to smoke a little, but it's not burning, which is a good sign. Then when this is ready, we'll just toss it onto a plate and then saute the vegetables. And then the last thing that's going to go in, and I want the flavor of the fresh Italian sausage grease. I'm thinking that the flavor of the grease plus the flavor of the shrimps will work together. And this is working fine. I never did something like this before. It was my idea, so it's working out. Now we're going to cut off the film because I'm going to finish the rest of it. And then you see this cooked very quickly. Very thin slices. You can see how thin they are, right? I'm pretty sure you can. Like 1/8 of an inch. And when they're in the sauce, another minute and they're done. So let me finish this up and then we'll get back to the vegetables. Next step is get the vegetables out of the way. I don't care if the butter browns or not. Let's look at how I slice it and why. If you see, you notice how fine the julienne of the peppers and the onions and the anchovies go in there whole wide because they're going to disintegrate like right away. And there's the minced garlic. The anchovies always disintegrate when you put them in hot oil or butter. So this went in right away after I finished the sausage. The pan is still hot. And like everything in the recipe, a little salt on this, very little, because you have anchovies in there. And some pepper. The only reason I'm using that pepper mill is because I found a bottle of multicolored peppercorns. So I go, okay, now we won't run out. But the thing is, you just can't see as much because the colors of the peppercorns are light. Anyway, this is this. Now what are we going to do next? Next, we're going to put the sausage back in there. This doesn't have to be, you can make this firm, soft, whatever. I'm liking it like that. Now we put the sausage back in. Now I have the hot fish shrimp stock sitting over there. And we'll see how much we're going to use. I'm going for, whoops, that's hot. That is a cup and a half. That's what I'm figuring to use. Things could change once you get finished. So the flame is high. Now what's going to happen? This liquid's going to thicken up a little bit because of the flour that's on the sausage. Then after this comes out. And then we saute the shrimps, throw everything back in. This has to be thin liquid because the shrimps are going to be floured also. And of course, if there's cream in the house, you go right ahead and you put heavy cream into anything like this. Let's see what I got left. That's how much I'm going to be using. I got exactly quarter of a cup. So I'm looking at the amount of sauce that's there, and the spaghetti I'm going to cook, and then I'm going to pour all of this with the shrimps over the spaghetti. So this looks like the right amount of liquid for the amount of spaghetti I'm going to cook. Well, I'm cooking more spaghetti than what I should, because there's going to be leftover, I'm pretty sure. Now, you got to taste it. If you don't taste it, you won't know if you have to season it anymore. It doesn't need much. Maybe a little more pepper. A pinch of salt. I only put 1 tablespoon of anchovies in there, but I'll wait for that. Because, lower the flame. This doesn't have to cook like crazy. Just let it thicken just a little. See how thick it is. It doesn't have to be very thick. Because, listen, when you eat clam linguine with clam sauce, they don't make it thick. It's like watery in the in your plate, bowl. And this, after the shrimps and the flour on the shrimps will thicken this up more, it'll be just fine. Because it'll sit on the pasta for a couple of minutes, and then you'll put it on your plate. It'll be just fine, this amount. Let me write that down, what I got. And next will be cooking the shrimps and finishing the dish. There are the shrimps. Now, you can tell I took a paring knife and I cut real deep on all the shrimps. That gives you that beautiful look that you get when you go to a Chinese restaurant and you have shrimp something. That's why they come out like that, nice and round. Plus, it quickens the cooking time. So, we're going to saute the shrimps. We're going to put a little salt on them and pepper, because everything needs a little salt and pepper. And we're going to saute this a little bit and then put the sauce. Simmer it for a few minutes and then serve it over the pasta, which I'm going to do later. So, you think it's a lot of butter? It's not a lot of butter for a dish like this. Raise the flame. Slide them in. And it's just the right amount for that pan, because easier to turn, and they're all fitting in there nice and neat. Then I'll get myself a pair of tongs, and after about a minute, turn them. There's the flame. You have to do this kind of quick because you don't want to overcook these shrimps. These are 21, 25 is the size most people buy, but these are under 20. So they could be called 16 to 20 per pound. This is for 2 people because we like shrimps. Like there's 3, 6, 9, 12, 14, 7 pieces each. Not the 5 or 6 that you get when you eat out, or 4. So that's enough. Turn these babies. I'm lowering the flame because it's going to burn my finger. The flame shoots up the side of this pan. I usually put wine, but I'm not using any wine in this recipe. That doesn't mean you don't have to use it. This is about the time you would add the wine. And the heavy cream is already used. It's in the sauce. We don't have to do that. Now another minute. You know what I forgot to do? I'm so stupid. I forgot to put the flour. I forgot to flour the shrimp, so therefore I'm doing it like this. Will this work? Of course it'll work. All I have to do is mix them. Most of the time I'll make one little error in the recipe, but it can be corrected. So I didn't dust them in flour, but there's the flour that I would use to dust them. Now we're going to take the sauce and pour it all over the shrimps, because they're ready. I like that. It looks good. And the sauce is going to work out just fine. So remember, just dust the shrimps gently in flour and then saute them in the butter. Now you know how long these shrimps take to cook. Only a couple of minutes, so what I'm going to do now is shut this off. Why? Because later I have to cook the pasta. When I turn this back on, everything will be done. But what you do now is taste the sauce again. Because this is really finished. And look at the consistency. That's beautiful. It's not really thick. It's just a little bit runny. Coats the back of this, which a sauce should do. And then taste. Very nice. It almost tastes like shrimp sausage a la king. If you know what chicken a la king tastes like. We'll finish this up later. So now it's the time to finish up. So first what you do is you take your pasta, you have it in your salted water. And like I say, the reason I use this, look how easy it goes in. And I don't really have to touch it for a couple of minutes. And nothing, these are not going to stick together. So this is on super high. While that's cooking, you can see the shrimps that are there from before. Put a lid on it for 1 minute. It will bring to a boil very quickly. This will take really no time to get hot, and the shrimps are still looking perfect. Now that it's boiling, just moving around a little. As you see, it's not necessary to have oil in there. It's just a waste of money. It's the right amount of water for the amount of pasta. And of course, if it wasn't enough water in here, this water would turn white from the starch in the pasta, and then you'll have problems of it sticking together. See how nice that is? Then when this is ready, before it's ready, I'm going to turn this on. I put this in the colander, put it back in here, never washing the pasta. You never ever wash pasta after you take it out of the water. Because if you do, then what you're going to have, I don't care what kind of sauce you make, you're going to have water in the bottom of your pasta dish. Just like you see when you go and have it at the diner, or even at some restaurants. You think they make the pasta to order? No way. They dip it in boiling water in little baskets, and they should drain it well, but most of the time they don't, because they got to get the food out to the customer. Now we'll turn this on. Nice high flame, just make it hot, and then we'll be ready. So I don't want to waste the film just looking at this. You understand what this is. This is the point that we stopped before. Now just bring it to a quick simmer, and we'll put it on top of the pasta. I always do this once I take the pasta out. Put some extra virgin olive oil on there. Give it a little mix. I put broccoli in there towards the end. And I'll take the sauce. And that is it. Mix it a little. And there you have it. This is for two, but it could be for three.